welcome to Kassy's Parlor and Graphics. I am going to make a fun project today with these cute little terracotta pots. I've got 2 of them here, and I'm going to make cute little succulents or cactus to put in there. We're going to be using the craft plastic that's crystal clear and it's a bit thicker. It's the .020 inch 500 micron plastic. It's very thick and durable. So we'll work with that, and we'll also be working with a little bit of shrink film. I've got the multicolor here. It comes in a lot of really pretty rainbow colors, so we'll take a look at that and make some little accents for our succulents. Okay, so I've got a piece of craft plastic here. When you take it out of the package, it looks really milky and frosty. Can you see my hand through there? And really that is just protective coating that's on the front and back so that it doesn't get scratched up before you're ready to use it. So I would recommend leaving that film on while you're doing whatever you're doing until you're ready to work on top of it, and then we can peel it off, and we'll do that together. Okay, so let me just make some space here. So the first thing that we're going to do is, actually I'm going to put this aside for just a minute because we are going to make cacti, I guess, out of this craft plastic, and we're going to decorate it and color it and make it really cute and pretty, but we're going to put it in here and it's going to kind of sit in the middle. And so I wanted, you could do this other part like a bunch of different ways. You know, you could get little rocks or whatever, or foam or something to stick in here. I just want to use what I have around. I love using supplies that I just have so that I don't have to go spend more money. And I have a bunch of tissue paper, so I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just crumple up the tissue paper and stick it in here and let it be kind of like dirt, and then stick our cactus in there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So to do that, I want it to look like dirt. I don't want it to be white. So I'm going to, I've got like a splat box here because I'm about to get real messy. I'm taking 2 pieces of tissue paper here, and they're just like they're ripped off of the main piece. They're crumpled up. We're going to crumple them up some more. We just want them to look like dirt anyway. So I just thought this was a fun way to kind of use what you have in your stash. Don't necessarily go out and buy anything, and let's just make some dirt. Okay, so I've got a couple different dye-based art sprays here. This one is from Indigo Blue, from their Vivids line. It's called Original Oak. And then I've got Brush Corduroy and Tea dye, and I think I'm just going to do like a variation of them, of the colors, because I don't want it to just all be one flat color. So anyway, we're working in our splat box so we don't make too much of a mess. We are still making a mess. It's okay. So I'm just going to spray here and there, and this is just regular tissue paper, so no big deal. This is a pretty dark brown, as you can see in there. So I'm going to come in with the tea dye, which is a bit of a lighter color, and really my goal is just to get some variation in the browns, okay? But I do want it to be pretty well covered because dirt doesn't have any white in it, really, you know? Okay, I love this color that's happening here. It's a very rich brown. Okay, and then let's just add a little bit of brush corduroy. Let's see what it does for us. Maybe it's going to bring in, yeah. You really can't do this part wrong, you know. You just want to get a good amount of color, and then I am actually going to set this whole box aside and let this dry on its own while we work on the next part. But I wanted to do that first and just get it out of the way so it can have time to dry. Now look at, even with the splat box, it went through there. You could paint your, maybe I'll paint this. That would be fun. You could pour it. That would be really fun. Lots of things you can do with your terracotta pots. Okay, but we're going to put those aside for just a minute, and let's work on our cacti. So I'm just going to get just any kind of black pen. You could use a Sharpie. I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, and I'm drawing on the protective coating. So even if you cut it out and you have some of your drawings still showing, it doesn't matter because you're going to peel that off anyway. This is just going to be, you know, helping us figure out what we need to cut. So when you first get started, depending on what size pot you're going to use, you could do this on a bigger pot if you wanted, but I'm just using the smaller one. It'll be just be cute to have like on the windowsill or on your work desk or whatever. So I'm just kind of like lining up the craft plastic with the flower pot so I can see how wide do I want the base of my cactus to be, right? So if I just set it down, you can see I've made some lines here, and I'm even going to go a little bit wider, okay? And then we want to say, okay, how tall outside of the pot? Do we want it to be super tall or just a short little thing? You know, you can do, there's cacti are in like all sorts of different shapes and sizes and everything, and succulents, and you know, you could do a lot with this. So anyway, we're going to make this first one kind of tall. So we'll go about there, okay? So then I can set this aside. And the first one I'm just going to do a real simple version. I'm going to do this kind that kind of comes out and goes in like this, and then we're going to put a little flower there, okay? So then this is the time where you can be like, oh, I don't like that drawing. It needs to come out a little bit more. It needs to go in more. It needs to be more rounded, whatever. Just make it look the way you want. That looks fine to me. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut it out. This is a pretty thick plastic, but it can be cut with a cutting machine. If you know, you'll have to play with your settings and figure it out. All machines are different. But if you use, like, let's say you're using a Cricut or something that has like a deep cut blade, you most definitely would need a deep cut blade, and then you just need to sort of play with your settings and figure that out. But you could, if you had like an SVG file or something with a cactus, or you know, even a flower. This is a fun flower pot for regular kinds of flowers, anything like that. Okay, so I'm peeling off that top layer that had my drawing on it, and I'm discarding it. So now I still have the back layer on, still protecting the back side of this, but now I'm going to work on the top, and I just had a little bit of a weird cut at the top here, so I'm just working it out. Maybe. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, and I like that it's a little bit wonky. I don't want it to be perfect or anything. So I've got just a piece of protective paper here, and I'm going to use alcohol ink to decorate this. So I've got two different colors here. These are T-Rex inks. I really like them. I like their vibrant colors. They've got a lot of good colors. I'm using Firefly and Kelp Forest. So I want it to be mostly bright. So I'm going to use more of the Firefly. And this also has a little shimmer in it. I don't particularly need this to have shimmer, but it's kind of fun, you know. And then the Kelp Forest, I'm just going to do a little bit because I want some shading and I want some dimension. But look at just a little bit, because dark colors go a long way, okay? And depending on if you want it to be more bright or more dark, you know, that's up to you. So notice I was doing side to side, now I'm doing up and down, and I'm just kind of pouncing and tapping. I want it to have some texture. I want it to be, you know, and you can apply alcohol ink in so many different ways. I'm using a Brayer, which I don't think is a very common way to do it, but it certainly is really fun. And I think I want a little bit more dark, maybe down here, and I can move that around. Okay, so you can use a Brayer. You can, of course, use a pouncer with like one of these with felt tip, and you know, move the color around that way. You can blow it with a straw or with you know, an air blower. There's lots of ways to use alcohol ink, but here we go. This is what I have so far. Just slightly different shades of green. I love the marbling effect of the alcohol ink, so I'm really happy with these. So I'm going to set these aside while we work on the shrink film part of it. So in traditional succulents, you know, sometimes they have like little flowers on them, like up here, or you know, on the other one. I'm gonna make a couple fun little flowers and shrink them down, and they'll just be fun little charms. You could also just make charms and like get a ribbon and wrap it around your terracotta pot and have them like dangling down. That would be super, super cute. And shrink film is a really great way to do stuff like that. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to show you these colors. If you've never used the colorful shrink film before, they're really fun and bright. Look at these beautiful colors. You get one sheet of each. You've got yellow, green, purple, blue, orange, and red. How pretty is that? I really love these. So I think I'm going to do one in red maybe, and maybe one in yellow. So the other thing to know about shrink film is that it shrinks to 20% of the original size. So if you've not worked with it before, you just want to make a sample so that you can see how much it shrinks down. You can stamp on this, you can die cut with it, you can do lots of things. You can punch it out with with a handheld punch, you could die cut with it, lots and lots of ways you can do it, okay? Or you can just cut out with scissors, which is what I'm going to do. But first, I am going to, again, draw my flower, okay? So, if I want it to be just a little flower up here, just as a fun little charm on here, then I don't want to draw a little flower because I'll have a little tiny nothing that you won't even really be able to see, okay? So I'm going to draw kind of a big flower. And don't worry about being too particular or like having it be perfect. It's going to shrink down. It's going to be just fine. So I'm going to start with this and we'll see how much it shrinks down. So normally I like to shrink in an oven. That's my favorite way to do it because it's perfect every time. You never have to worry about it curling up on itself and sticking and being unusable. But for today I just want to show you another way that you can do it. But again, my preference is put it on a baking sheet, on a piece of parchment paper, put all your pieces down that you want to shrink, put your oven at, I believe it's 200, but it does say on the packaging, let's see. Oh, this says 300 to 350. I keep it on the lower side, so put it on 300 for 2 or 3 minutes, and then put a piece of parchment paper on top of your images, and that helps keep them flat. So they're going to curl up a little bit while they're shrinking, and then they kind of flatten back out. And the only thing you don't want is while it's curling up, you don't want it to touch each other. Itself, I mean, because then it will just stick, you know, and then it kind of is unusable. So, so that's my best tip for you. But if you're like, oh, I'm not near an oven, I just want to do this in a pinch, whatever, you can use a heat gun. I recommend using a nice hot heat gun that you would use for embossing, okay? And I am on a silicone mat here. This is a Sizzix craft mat. I would definitely use something that's heat resistant and just be really careful, okay? You're working with heat. So here we go. I've got just like a craft pick here. I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to use my heat gun and just kind of move it around until it shrinks down and starts to flatten back out. And then I do like to have something near me, and I might just use this when I'm done. I'm just telling you ahead of time because when I do it, I'm just going to kind of have to do it. But once it's done and it's shrunk and it'll still be hot, but you want to make sure it's flat. So get something, a silicone mat or a glove or whatever, or a piece of paper like this, and just kind of flatten it, okay? And that's what I'm going to do, so let's go. Okay, it's pretty well where it's going to be. Now, this is a flower, so if I don't want it to be totally flat, which I kind of don't, I can, it's not that warm, I can sort of shape it, right? Here we go. And let it cool. And when it cools, now I've got petals that are formed. Whoops. Sorry about that. I have petals that are formed and they have dimension. How cute is that? And so now we have a cute little flower. And you saw the petals curling up and they kind of started to touch each other, but then they flattened back out and it was okay. So I just want to show you the difference, okay, in the starting size and the finished size. It's a big difference, 20% of the original size. So let's see how we like it on our cactus. Oh my goodness, how adorable is that? It's perfect. I really like the size. I think that's really cute. It could even be a tiny bit smaller, but I like this. And so we're just going to go with it. And we're going to make one more. Now, okay, I'm going to try some alcohol, I'm sorry, not alcohol, acrylic ink. I've got two different colors from Amsterdam ink, and one of them is turquoise blue and the other one is deep gold. And oh my goodness, the deep gold, both of these colors are so gorgeous. And I just kind of have this like southwest feel with these cacti and these succulents. So let's just try this on one of the pots here and see what I like, okay? So I'm just going to get paintbrush, and I think I'm just going to dip the paintbrush right into the pot here and see if we paint directly. Oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, really, that's just gorgeous. So I think I'll just do the main pot in this nice turquoise blue. This has got to be the most beautiful color, seriously. Okay, same thing. I'll do the rim of this one first. Look at that gold. Isn't that just beautiful? Okay, both of these have been painted now. Look at how pretty they are. Oh, I love them so much. I'm going to put them off to the side here to keep drying. Next, we're going to stick our flowers to our cacti. And for something like this, I really like to use a good, strong solvent glue. So I'm going to use the Kassy 3D glue gel, but you could use, whatever you have. You could even use something like glue dots if you have something like that. That would work just fine. So I'm just putting a little bit on the end, on the back side of that flower. And I want these to be kind of at the top of this piece here. I'm just putting a little bit and put this guy over here. So darling. Look at how cute this is. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, so that's going to dry. Let that glue settle for a minute. And we'll do the same thing for this one. And how quick and easy are these little projects? You could make these, like I said before, you could do this project with kids. It could be really fun. And you could do flowers instead of succulents. You could do lots of different things. So there we go. We've got this cute little guy here. Adorable. I'm going to put those up here, and then let's check on our dirt and see how that is drying. I want to show you like all the variation in the color here. Really, really interesting. I really am happy that I tried this. I really like this a lot, and I might use it for lots of different types of projects. So yay, that's a win. Okay, so let's start with this guy. I think he's pretty well dried. That dries pretty quickly. And I'm just going to make sure this white part is kind of in the bottom, scrunched underneath. And I'm going to scrunch this up, let it be just kind of messy and a little bit crazy. And let's just see how it looks. We're just trying it out. Oh, I just love it. Look at how interesting that is. It looks like dirt and it's just paper. How fun. I love this. I'm so excited. First, we have to peel the backing off. Don't forget that. It gives you a nice, almost like a stained glass look once it's peeled off. Isn't that cool? Okay, so then I'm going to make a little hole in here, okay? And then to make sure it's going to stick, I'm going to get my 3D glue gel out again, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom of the front and the back. And it does take a while to dry, but it's okay because we're just going to stick this down in here, and then we're going to let it dry, and it's going to be fine. And if you still wanted to put maybe some little rocks or, like if you got like aquarium rocks, or something like that, or gravel or whatever, that might be nice. Or just some sand or dirt, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Or you can just have this tissue. I think this is super cute. And once that dries, it's not going to go anywhere. And I want to kind of put it sideways so I can show you, but let's see if I can hold it up here. So look at how cute this is with the craft plastic and the cute little flowers. And once that dries again, you could also put a little bit of foam down in here and stick it down in the foam. And I don't have any foam here, but I just thought of it as I was working. So that's something else you could do too. Okay, so this one I'm going to do the same thing. This one is a bit more of the tissue, so that might be helpful too, just to have a little bit more tissue. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of cut a little hole in the middle here like I did for the last one. Almost like you're making a hole in the dirt, right? And then we'll do the same thing. Whoop, I got to take the backing off of here. Don't forget to do that because it really does make a difference in the clarity and just the brilliance of your project. So, okay, putting a little bit of glue on the front and the back, and even if I was sticking this in foam or something like that, I think I would still put that glue on there just to make sure that it's going to be nice and secure. And once it dries, it really is not going to go anywhere. So I'm just kind of sticking this tissue to that glue and then just kind of fluffing it up. Adorable. Oh, I just love it. I think these are so darling and really pretty simple. You know, you just either need to be able to draw the pattern or find a pattern online and cut it out with a machine. But here we go. We've got two cute little succulents. So there we go. This is our project for today. I hope that you found some inspiration and enjoyed these cute little succulents. Just to recap what we used here. For the flowers, we used the shrink film in the multicolor pack. It's like a rainbow color pack. So many pretty colors in there, especially for summertime and for fun, maybe even kid projects. And then we also used the crystal clear craft plastic in the thicker version, which is the 500 micron version. Okay, and this is a 12 by 12 pack. It comes in four sheets in it. So there we go. This is what we used for today, and we made these darling little succulent potted pieces, and I hope you have the very best day. Thank you.